Milan Fashion Week turned into a global spectacle when BTS's Jin, Gucci's global ambassador, not only graced the premiere of Gucci's short film The Tiger at Palazzo Mezzanotte, but was also reported to have joined rehearsals ahead of the grand showcase. The revelation of his participation behind the scenes sent international media into a frenzy, underscoring the extraordinary anticipation surrounding his role at this year's Fashion Week. The premiere itself, directed by Spike Jonze and Helena Rhine, was positioned as one of Gucci's most ambitious cultural projects to date. Yet what captivated headlines across Europe, Asia, and the United States was not just the film, it was Jin's dual presence on the red carpet dazzling fans and insiders, and earlier at rehearsals where his involvement hinted at a deeper connection with the event than previously imagined. Jin's influence has long stretched beyond the K-pop stage, but Milan confirmed what fashion observers have been whispering. He is now a central figure in bridging East and West through style. Vogue Italia praised his understated elegance, writing, "Jin doesn't merely attend fashion, he becomes part of its architecture." Similarly, The Guardian described the atmosphere inside Palazzo Mezzanotte as electric. The moment Jin arrived, a seismic cultural moment in which a Korean idol outshone Hollywood veterans. Gucci's decision to highlight Jin so prominently comes as no surprise. Appointed global ambassador in 2024, he has consistently proven his ability to command audiences across generations. His appearance at the Tiger premiere, part of Gucci's larger Gucci Cultural Month initiative, also symbolized the brand's deliberate strategy to fuse Korean artistry with Italian heritage. Jin's rehearsal participation added fuel to speculation that his role at Milan Fashion Week may extend beyond guest status into something more immersive. International fashion critics framed this as a turning point. Le Monde emphasized that Jin represented the cultural diplomacy of a new age, while WWD's Women's Wear Daily noted that Gucci's embrace of Jin was not just marketing but survival, a direct response to the brand's recent financial downturn. By associating with Jin, an icon whose global fandom guarantees attention, Gucci aims to re-establish itself as the most talked-about luxury house of the year. Meanwhile, armies from across the world converged in Milan, turning the streets around Palazzo Mezzanotte into a sea of banners, chants, and fan-made art celebrating Jin. Their presence transformed the premiere from an exclusive industry gathering into a cultural phenomenon. Local Italian media captured the scale of the moment, remarking that no other star, not even Hollywood actors, had drawn such crowds during Fashion Week. As Milan Fashion Week unfolds, Jin's influence continues to dominate headlines. His rare mix of humility, elegance, and cultural power has not only amplified Gucci's message, but also cemented him as the true centerpiece of this year's fashion narrative. For many, the sight of Jin rehearsing and then commanding the spotlight on premiere night was more than a star appearance. It was history in the making. The frenzy surrounding Jin's Milan appearance has not stopped at glamorous photos or dazzling headlines. In fact, global fashion analysts and fan communities alike are declaring his presence as the defining moment of Milan Fashion Week 2025. What began as speculation about a simple guest appearance has evolved into an international talking point. Is Jin not just a guest, but the very heartbeat of this season's event? Fashion insiders have compared the excitement generated by Jin to the energy once reserved for Hollywood A-listers such as Leonardo DiCaprio, Angelina Jolie, or even Lady Gaga during her peak red carpet reign. Yet analysts argue that Jin's influence is different, rooted in a transnational fandom that blends the spheres of music, fashion, and digital culture. When Jin steps into Milan, he is not just a star in the room, he brings millions with him, said a senior editor at Business of Fashion. The entire global conversation bends toward him. Fans across continents amplified that conversation. In Tokyo, giant screens replayed his Milan arrival, while in New York, fan clubs organized watch parties of live streams from Palazzo Mezzanotte. Social media platforms turned into global news wires, with hashtags like Jin@TMFW and Gucci with Jin dominating trends in 25 countries simultaneously. International armies even arranged cultural banners in Italian, Korean, and English, proclaiming Jin unites the world through art. Economists have also taken notice. Within 48 hours of Jin's premiere appearance, Gucci saw a 27% spike in global online search interest, with Italy, South Korea, and the United States leading the surge. Analysts from Morgan Stanley speculated that Jin's ambassadorship could create a halo effect worth tens of millions in free media exposure for Gucci. His Milan appearance was not just cultural, it was financial, one analyst observed. The impact has been so profound that even European political commentators joined the chorus. An Italian cultural critic on RAI Television remarked, "Jin represents a new kind of soft power. When he attends Milan Fashion Week, it is not only Gucci that benefits, it is Italy itself, which suddenly becomes the stage of the world." This level of admiration has prompted debates within the fashion press. Has Jin become the most influential non-European guest in Milan Fashion Week history? Critics from the New York Times and The Independent cautiously lean toward yes, citing his unique ability to merge humility with grandeur. Unlike traditional celebrities who arrive with entourages, Jin's calm presence and quiet wave resonated as more authentic, which in turn magnified his charm. As the week progresses, one truth has become unavoidable. Milan is no longer talking about who will wear Gucci, but rather how Jin has changed Gucci's place in the global conversation. Fans, critics, and analysts agree. This was not just another celebrity sighting. This was Jin of BTS declaring his place as a global cultural icon, and the fashion world may never be the same. By the third day of Milan Fashion Week, the tone of coverage had shifted completely. What was once introduced as Gucci's seasonal spectacle, or Milan's showcase of Italian heritage, was now consistently labeled across headlines as the Jin Week. From Vogue Italia to the New York Times, commentators were unanimous in acknowledging that Jin's appearance had not just been another celebrity moment, but a cultural shift that redefined the identity of the entire event. European media, in particular, embraced this narrative with pride. La Repubblica wrote, "We expected Gucci, but we received Jin. Fashion is no longer about the collection alone, but about the presence of an artist who bridges continents." French outlets echoed the sentiment, with Le Figaro calling him the rare figure who merges sincerity with star power, creating a moment that eclipses fashion and becomes history. Even American publications, often hesitant to place K-pop idols on the same level as Hollywood elites, conceded that Jin's Milan debut had altered the playing field. Vanity Fair praised his disarming charm, pointing out how he drew as much coverage as Gucci's entire lineup combined. Meanwhile, WWD proclaimed, "Jin is not just Gucci's ambassador, he is Milan Fashion Week's ambassador." The branding of the Jin Week spread rapidly online, fueled by fans who plastered it across social media, turning the phrase into a viral declaration. Army accounts produced collages of Jin walking through rehearsals, stepping into the Palazzo Mezzanotte premiere, and waving to fans outside, with captions such as, "This is not Milan Fashion Week, this is Jin's Fashion Week." The phrase resonated so widely that even mainstream journalists began using it unironically. Fashion historians are already speculating on the long-term impact. Some argue that Milan 2025 will be remembered less for the garments on the runway and more for the cultural power Jin demonstrated. "Every generation has a defining moment where art, celebrity, and industry converge," noted one British historian. For this decade, it may very well be Jin at Milan. Back in Milan, organizers appeared to embrace the phenomenon. Reports suggest that Gucci executives quietly restructured portions of their marketing rollout to feature Jin more prominently, capitalizing on his unprecedented influence. Industry whispers indicate that his rehearsal participation might evolve into a full-scale surprise appearance during the official runway, a move that would all but confirm his centrality to the event. As the curtains prepare to rise on Gucci's Spring-Summer 2026 showcase, one fact is undeniable. Milan Fashion Week is no longer just an industry calendar entry. It has become a cultural movement, branded and remembered as the Jin Week.